Hello,
Hello.
we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us.
I can't believe you're all here.
I know people are either really, really early. Some of you will be in the afternoon, I guess. Why don't you
It's a
maybe
lovely
tell us?
afternoon in Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in afternoon. Why don't you tell us where you are? Then at least we know you can hear us as well. So maybe put into the chat and tell us where you are calling from. So Amey, should we do a few little, Australia, yay.
Yay.
People can
Yay.
hear us, that is the worst part.
Okay, now people are actually there, so now it feels very real. So now I'm going to cry.
Excellent.
Oh, this is very exciting.
Isn't it?
Oh,
Should we do
gosh.
a few,
Okay.
should we get the crappy stuff out of the way,
Yeah,
the
let's
rules?
crack it on. A little bit of housekeeping.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it?
Sure. Okay, so first thing, this is being recorded. We've already started it recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, everybody. I think Amey and I are maybe a bit emotional about the fact that people are actually joining. That's brilliant. So we'll be recorded. So if you're not comfortable with that, don't put anything in the chat. Obviously, you can watch, but we are recording. And also attendance isn't anonymous, so you'll see other people's names. So again, if you're not comfortable with that, apologies, but it's up to you if you want to leave if you're not comfortable. So there is a chat section, and we'll use the chat for, like, if you're wanting to say good morning, if you're wanting to just say, hey, great job. And
Megan, her hair looks great,
Yeah, your hair does look great, Amey. If you want to ask an actual question, there is a Q&A section, and we will use that so we can focus on the actual questions rather than just the chat. We will invite you to ask in person if you wish. So if you want to put your question in and then you want to ask it, then we will see if we can unmute you to ask, or if we need some more clarification. We've got, it's fine to do specific examples, but don't share any sensitive data as well, obviously. So if you're talking about a specific client, something like that, then maybe don't share that information if it's not appropriate. The question should be on the topic of customer insights journeys. We are not talking about data at all, so only on customer insights journeys. We'll attempt to answer as many questions as possible. And also, if a question is too detailed, we are unlikely to be able to dig into just one person's question. We want to make sure we cover as many as possible, so we'll try and answer. And also, this is kind of like we're giving you our suggestions and ideas, but please don't then take everything and just say, right, Amey and Megan told me. If you're working with a partner, talk to them about it. Think about how what we've suggested works with your organization as well. So in other words, we're not liable for something you then go off and do on your own. So yeah.
We're wearing our community give back hats, not our being grown up professionals trying to sell stuff here. So like, we're literally here just to help people. We're not trying to sell stuff. And we're not like telling you, like, we're giving you advice, but it's not like, yeah, we're not liable. Don't mess it up and say, Amey told me to do it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Exactly. All right. So shall we go ahead and have a look and see if there's any questions yet, Amey?
I mean, we said Q&A, and we have a Q&A. So the person in Q&A is Bopart or Bopart. I can potentially allow your microphone. I've allowed Mike. If you wish to unmute yourself, you can ask the question. Maybe.
Hello. Hey. So the question is, we've created a newsletter form, and after submitting the DOE, I receive an opted-in for the topic in the consent center. Is it necessary that I also have an opted-in for the purpose, or are they linked together? I don't really, it's not clear for me.
Then you've submitted the double opt-in. The double opt-in, you said, yeah, I definitely want to opt in, but it's not turning up in your system somewhere.
I think, are you asking if you should put the purpose on the form along with all of the topics?
Correct. Yes.
So yes. I would say yes. Absolutely.
It's a yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So also, if you think about, depends if you've got to this point yet, but if you look at the preference center where somebody lands when they're trying to update or opt out, then that is the way in which that works. Is you basically would put your topics on typically, but then you'd also have the purpose right at the bottom, which basically is saying, I want to opt out of everything. So I would set it up in terms of how the preference center works, where you've got topics and purpose on the same form. Okay.
Okay.
So absolutely do the purpose.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. You're welcome. We've got another question, Sophia. How did you go ahead and unmute them, maybe?
Oh gosh, now that's going to become my job. Okay, so now I have to find Sophia's face. Oh wait, I think I know how to do this. Wait a second. Oh God, we need a Teams expert. I've got to go find her.
Ah, that's right. Yes, we see the question, and then.
I should have been doing this whilst you were answering that question. We need an assistant. Where's my assistant?
I know.
Where is my assistant? This is not the nicest experience I've ever had.
It's not. I found her. Sophia, we're going to unmute you so that you can ask your question if you wish.
And if she doesn't, then I'm going to cry.
Yes, now it worked. Thank you. Yeah, so I have noticed that the insights for a segment that has been migrated are only available from the date of migration, which for me is kind of logic, but our client asks if there's any possibility to store the insights from the outbound segment in the new real-time segment. Don't know if you have any idea or maybe anybody, yeah, but I think it's not possible.
I think that's one of those, like, I know they've migrated, but they're completely different things. They speak different languages. Like, it's kind of like saying, can you make my potato look like an orange? I could, but it wouldn't be, it's not the same thing. So it's just a no.
Okay.
A no, sorry.
Yeah, that would be good, but it's effectively starting it all over again, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
All right, so now I know what to do, Amy. I will go and find our next caller. If I think I'm the same as you, Amy. I'm a bit crappy at saying people's names. And is it Anika? And you can totally correct us if it's wrong.
Don't be telling me your name.
You want to ask your question, Anika?
Yes, it's Anneke.
Anika,
And
perfect.
I wonder, I'm rebuilding real-time events, and we have events with a lot of sessions for an open day on a school. And we would like to set a maximum of participants on the specific sessions and not on the event itself. I think it should be possible, but we cannot find it. So might there be any possibility it's in the future?
Yes, I remember looking. Have you turned on the new feature for the new waitlist functionality in real-time marketing yet?
I have to check.
Okay. So first of all, it's a new feature switch. It's currently in preview. All disclaimers apply to being safe with using stuff in preview. And I believe there was some really detailed notes in the release notes saying that you can manage registrations per session, and it's new and improved and whiz and bang. So I think they've actually done it really well and possibly a better version than what it was in Outbound. But you do need to turn on the new waitlist management feature, and it is in preview. So be careful. But definitely, I'm almost definitely yes on that.
Okay, that would be great. Can I ask some more questions about this much capacity of sessions? Might there be in future some kind of filtering? Because with the new form, we have all these 150 sessions on the marketing form, on the registration form, with below there the fields for your information. It would be nice if there is some kind of filtering possibility in it.
If the sessions are in a subgrid, so they should be filterable, right? On the form, because the sessions is just related data, so it works like a normal Dataverse table. So if you can't on the current subgrid that you've got, you could either customize the form or use the related section, and then you should have all your standard Dataverse features of views, filters, etc.
Okay, I'll have to find out, because at the moment we have a bunch of sessions and there is no possibility, and they have to register for the sessions they would like to know. So they are looking into directions of the school, let's say health and care or other kind of things.
The
You mean
order
the
on the
person
form.
registering?
Yes. So I would like to have a smaller set of sessions shown based on certain fields.
Yeah.
I believe
I
it's in the order of the schedule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so anything in the future, Amy and I have zero, well, we
No,
don't have any
okay.
control over.
And if I knew it, I wouldn't be able to tell you probably.
Yeah, it would be NDA if it was in the future.
I know that's something they spoke about, because that's what the passes used to allow you to do, right? They haven't brought that in yet because they've not done the payments. That might come along when payments come along, because when you start talking about payments, that's when you want to start grouping things up.
Yes.
So it might be possible in the future, but for now, as far as I know, it's just its data, its sessions. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the user in Dynamics, not the registry.
No.
Yeah. So keep an eye on that. We'll move on to the next person just because we've got a lot of questions.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Annika, if you've got any others, then just put them in, and obviously we'll get back around to you on that one. Thank you
I will
so
do that.
much.
Thank you.
Ferdinand, I just unmuted you. I feel bad because I told you off for using the Q&A. So you've been unmuted. Go ahead. If you want. No, you need to unmute yourself, but you're on.
No, I think you can hear me now. Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Just one thing to mention regarding the question of Andrea. If you put the purpose on the newsletter registration form, it also will be part of a double opt-in email, because it's a double placeholder that also shows you the purpose and the topic in the double opt-in email. You have to be aware of that. Therefore, we created another solution only to bring the topics into the double opt-in email. Just to mention that, be aware to name your purpose, because it will be shown on the double opt-in email. Okay. And I can confirm that capacity of session is on the session record itself.
I think we've got the. Don't worry, it's all good.
Okay. Thank you. My question is how to get the contacts from. Okay, my question is how to get the contacts from outbound marketing customer journeys out of the wait notes into the real-time journey. We have very long-running journeys in outbound, and they are not already in a state we can pick it from an activity because the email is not sent. We have to bring them out of the wait note. How to do that?
So my question is, this long-running journey, like what is it? Like, what is it doing?
We have several nurturing journeys. We are sending out emails after 14 days, after 30 days, after 60 days, after 90 days. And a lot of contacts are stuck in the wait notes now. And if we do the switch for each journey, how to get them out of there?
So for me, go on.
I was going to say, unfortunately, a lot of it is going to be, you're going to have to just rip the plaster off. You're going to have to stop those journeys and start your new journeys. The only possible things you can do, and I know you said it's not that you could look at other activities, but maybe you can do something like when the last email was sent, put people in a segment that have received that last email within a certain amount of time, and then you would have to start a new journey using that, and then maybe have a second journey that is using whatever real trigger or real segment you want to use in the end. But anything that's a really long journey is going to be a problem, and some of them are just going to be too difficult to try and figure out how you get those people in. Getting them out is just you would stop the journey. So it's getting them in, not getting them out and into the right stage. So you might have to have a series of journeys that are like, well, this journey might start from email 2 and this journey might start from email 3, and then putting people in that way. Or you might have to do it manually and create manual segments and say, right, all of these people need to go into it. I wish there was an easy. Go for it, Amy.
I think I have an idea. So you could add conditions into the journey and do a condition based on segment membership. So you set up a segment for each of the emails in this long running journey, an outbound segment that says has received this email. And then at each step in the journey, you check if they've received that email before. And if they have, you don't send it. And if you haven't, they get it.
That sounds like an idea.
And then in the get it, that's where you put the wait condition in the get it side. and then they carry on. It's kind of like how I build the event registration reminders, because I check the date of the event and make it contextual. So then the person who's already received 5 emails zips straight down to step 5, and then they start meeting the conditions. So it's a bit more of a setup, but that would get exactly what you want.
Yeah. It's never going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of figuring out, but
if it's worth it, there is a way to do it that's not hardcore code shit.
We have 150 journeys like that, so it's a lot of work.
And then you decide if it's worth this week, or do you just turn it off and let it go? I would be saying,
no, we can.
So get someone to pay you to do it. If it's worth it, do it. It's possible. Off you go.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
Right, so we'll move on. Mohsin, is that how we say it? Like, find you. I found allow mic. Okay, so you can go ahead and ask your question. I hope I've said that correctly.
Mohsin
Yep.
Raza?
Hi, Mohsin. Hi, everyone. Hi. So we are in the transition, from outbound to real-time marketing, and what I've been facing is we are trying to create email templates, right, with the content blocks, which is very normal stuff, right? But somehow we are using the webhook as well in the system. We have a webhook to listen the associate message, right? And
what's that trying to achieve? Sorry.
Okay, so we are trying to. Yeah, so reason to have a webhook is because when we are assigning the web roles, we have a portal as well, Power Pages portal as well. So when we assign the web role, so at that time we need to listen that message, and we need to check the web role whether like a user is assigning a right web role to the user or not, the contact basically, right? So we have put a mechanism, in place, so we can check the verify. Right. So somehow, because the associate message, you can't filter it on the table, on the entity. So it listens everything. It's open to all the tables. So somehow, when we create a email template and try to save it with the content block, it throws an error, and it conflict. And there's a Microsoft plugin, which actually writes the data into the table somehow. It's having some conflict with that webhook. And then it throws an error, and we are unable to save the email templates. And we are stuck there.
Have you opened a support ticket with Microsoft? Because
yes, I opened that. It took a long time, and they figure out, no, it's a customization team supposed to respond to you. And we are the application team, so raise a new ticket. So today I just raised a new ticket with this customization team. So hopefully they will pick that up and get back to us. But is this something known issue or something just happening to us?
I'm wondering, I don't know if there's actually a classic Dataverse relationship between content blocks and email templates. I think it's something virtualized, because the way they display it, I don't think associate is at all relevant. I think it's a different way that because when you look on a template, you can see, but it's like these weird blue links.
Yep.
I don't think there's a classic Dataverse relationship, and I think you need to get at it from a different direction. I don't think the associate plugin is your answer. I don't know what the answer is, but I think you need to look at it in a different direction.
Okay, because there are two things. So I don't want to touch my webhook and the stuff which is running under that webhook. I don't want to do anything with that. So I just need to, because the thing is, when I just turned off the webhook step, then everything works fine. When I just turn that on again, so start getting that error message. So it means like somehow Microsoft plugin or internal, underlying something, conflicting with that webhook. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have any instant answers, but I think I don't think associate is your friend here. As my
and unfortunately, I think it's not something we're going to be able to say. This is the answer.
No, understand.
You are at the mercy of the support and getting through to the right person. Yes. Fingers crossed. That will happen for you today. That will happen today. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
No
Thanks
problem.
very much.
So Rakesh, let's find.
I found him. Boy, I went quiet. Rakesh, you are unmuted. This is going to be the quickest answer ever. Go. I'm ready.
Are you able to hear us, Amey?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. Thanks again for setting up this session. This is very helpful, and then we see lots of active participation. Our question is, we are moving from OBM to RTM as we all working towards it. And then we were having this concept of static segment in OBM, where we could add limitless of contacts. There is no such kind of limit on the static segments. And earlier we were using a marketing list as such. And now as part of RTM, right? We were nowhere actually. I mean, we also have the concept of dynamic segments. But coming to the static segment, we are trying to migrate from this old OBM to new RTM. And we already checked with Microsoft, and looks like there is no such kind of concept of static segment in RTM.
Yeah, so nowadays a segment is a segment. There's not different types, and you can include people statically in a segment. There's a little thing called include contacts and exclude contacts. Have you found those bits yet?
Yeah, those are, that's I see the concept.
But that's only so that's going to give you a maximum of 100, which is not really all that great. You can also have your segment that you create, and then over on the right hand side there's an option to basically like create a snapshot. So that would give you a list of a moment in time. So in other words, you then could create it with more, and then it would be a moment in time. The other thing, which I don't know how you feel about Amey, and it's one of those things where if you come from
I know what you're going to say.
Old school,
said it in the chat. I agree.
If you come from old school CRM, you'll know about marketing lists. If you don't, you might not even know what they are. But outbound marketing subscription lists are essentially a marketing list. So you could add marketing lists to your navigation, create those, which allows you to then manually put people into it and take people out of it. And then that would give you more. And then you would create your segment in real time, add the marketing list table to it, and then basically say all contacts that are in this specific marketing list. So there is no direct replacement, but there are ways around it.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. I think that's very helpful, and this is where we are also thinking in the same lines. But again, recently we figured out like marketing list is not part of the whole marketing license. It's part of sales license. So is that
core
correct?
Dataverse? Marketing list is core Dataverse. Anyone can use it, any license. All good.
Okay. I mean,
they'll never get rid of that.
This is where I was trying to figure it out. Like I went to the licensing, that PDF document, and then we were checking like, hey, is this entity part of the marketing? I couldn't find that, and then this
is where part of the marketing, but like Amey said, it's core Dataverse. Now we are not here to do a licensing session at all, so it's up to you to interpret or talk to your team to determine whether you're comfortable with that, but you should be absolutely fine to be able to add the marketing list into the navigation of the app.
No, that's right. That's true. Yeah, that's correct. But again, why we are going with this workaround is because like there is no replacement of static segment as such, right?
I mean, I live in hope there'll be something better in the future. So I am full support of use something else that's already there. Marketing list does job great.
Cool. Thank you, Amey. Just want to get confirmation here. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. And next is Nina, and I think I recognize the name, and I'm scared about the question because it's gross. Hey.
Hi guys. It's not that hard of a question, but there is the point: create an event portal on your own website in the release notes, and this had to come out in April, but now it's postponed to June. And I have some customers who are using the Angular thingy, and now I'm a little bit scared about how or what should I do with them. How is the thing?
I've been in this situation with a few customers. It's uncomfortable. It's freaking me out. I'm going through phases of like grief, I think, with it. The approach I've kind of gone with is, at the end of the day, all the ways that we're allowed to use this in the future, apart from taking the API and building the whole thing yourself, it's going to use the forms. So, you know, the new event registration forms are going to be used no matter which way you look at it. So the one that's embedded on the website, it's literally a hunk of JavaScript that displays a grid of your events. So you're not actually replaced, not like the portal where it's a whole different world. You're literally just showing like, here's all my events. And I think when they click those links, they actually just get sent either to a page with the form embedded, which is on your website, or to the form on a standalone page. So you're always going to end up on the event registration new forms, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, but does the wait lists work? Something like that. Does this work?
That's a preview feature that you need to turn on. That's now available for real time on the forms. Yeah.
It's if you use the form standalone, it's also working.
It is or isn't?
No, that was a question. Sorry. Is it working?
It should do. Yeah. I mean, it's in preview, so you've got to handle it with all the safe stuff. But yeah, everything that you use will be available on that form because that's the only way to get to the events from June.
So Nina,
so it is gross. You do lose some stuff. It is a bit sucky in some ways. I get it, but unless you've got developers that can use the new API and build a fully custom replacement of Angular.
So hang on, you don't have to build using the API. So I've put a link in the chat, Nina. So you might want to have a look at that. So when Amy's saying like they're effectively going to be using the event registration forms, I've put a link to a category. I've got 7 posts that will show you how you could actually get started where you're just using one form. Now that's only if you are comfortable with Power Pages and comfortable with Liquid, but I've put all of the Liquid code in there for somebody. So you could just,
I know all
just
the links there. They are great, but most of the customers are very small customers and they don't want to pay Power Pages. And so I'm looking for...
Well, but there's going to have to be some element of change. And it's one of those things where it's a bit, we're waiting, and then unfortunately it's going to be like, oh, here is something, and then you're going to be expected to move. So I think in terms of with some of them, it might be a path they want to go down, but yeah. And then the other option is just to basically have an event form and embed it in individual pages, at least as a workaround, because I would imagine all clients have a website. The piece that you would be missing would be the ability for anyone to be able to log in, I guess.
Thank you so much.
You're not alone, Nina. We're all freaking out.
We're all in it together. I'm totally going through it, so I can relate to all of that.
I'm so thankful. I have you too.
No pressure. Thank you. So
thanks, Nina.
Jonathan, I will.
I've got him.
Oh, you're on top of it.
I'm on fire.
Hi. Thanks. Question we have a customer, they use the event registration and get from there as well the opt-in for commercial content. They would like to get newsletter content as well for that. But so far, it's not possible to trigger the double opt-in journey out of the event registration form. Do you have any idea when it might come, or if there is a workaround, or any suggestion in that direction?
I have no freaking idea. And I'm okay with saying that.
I mean, the only way that it's not double opt-in. The problem is double opt-in is obviously it's holding that person until they've said yes, right? I'm happy. So the problem with an event registration, they will be in Dynamics. They'll be in there straight away. Potentially you could do something to go ahead, and you'd have to use Power Automate, maybe then go ahead and check and see, is this person already opted in which case fine, we don't need to do anything. If not, let's go ahead and then send them an email that says, please let us know what you would like to receive from us. So it's backwards, it's not double opt-in, but that's your only option because that person is already in the system. So doing something with some kind of flow that then checks, and I'm pretty sure that I created something that basically, as soon as somebody filled out a form, said, "Oh, here's what you're subscribed to." So I'll see if I can find it on my website, Jonathan. But it was something that sent out immediately after the form is submitted, so you could do something like that. So yes,
I mean, now it's not the form pre-fill as well. You got form pre-fill, right? So you don't even need to build anything, right? It's like event registration created, send an email with a link to the form, enable pre-fill, and have all the topics on there. I know it's getting them to click again, but it's something.
Yeah, I tried with the pre-fill, but it was not working. I don't know why. We tried that several times.
There's a lot of stuff for pre-fill, a lot of settings in lots of random places, and so yeah, that does work. So that's keep hitting your head on that wall. That's a stronger wall, a good wall to hit on. But also, I think it's double opt-in still in preview. So I believe that at some point they'll eventually bring it out for events. It would seem reasonable that they would. But
it's no longer. No, it's no longer in preview, but on the website, on the documentation, it is written it's in preview for event registration, but it's not there. So
I think it's my favorite line. In the fullness of time, I reckon that would become the thing. You've got to bear in mind that if they want to change that, it affects the events team who are currently desperately trying to build stuff to get to June. So I imagine it's something which has to wait. This is my logical developer brain kicking in. Like, it's stuff that's got to wait till the events is set up properly. I would say it's coming, but for now, do something with workarounds around pre-fills and follow-up emails.
Perfect, thanks.
A lot of chicken and egg in what's going on at the minute. So are you looking for Angela? You are on this.
I'm not organized on this one, so I was awkwardly cringing. I got excited about, I said, my theories. I think I've got it. Angela, you are unmuted if you want to ask your question. You have 4 likes on your question as well. Look at you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hi, hello. I wrote it in the chat. We are working with segments a lot, and in the news segments there is only the email address and the name, and I tried to add more columns, but this did not work. So
Amy,
is there a way
Amy
to do
can
it?
take this. Yes, Amy
I know this one. You can't see my hand up, but it's up. So there is if it's just a text field, there's some fields where if you just include the condition in the segment and have like a false positive where it's always true, that makes it appear on the view.
I tried to, it did not work.
What type of field was it? So lookups don't work.
Good question. So maybe
it depends on the field type.
When you tell me it does work, I will try again with different fields. Maybe.
Yeah. So it's only like some field types. So it's not great, but it's sometimes useful. I ended up building a custom page for this. So I think I do have a couple of blog posts on it, but basically built a custom page that allows you to say, I want all these columns. It allows you to like Canvas app search, like searches like fuzzy search and stuff. So then the person can start typing, it does fuzzy searching, all the stuff that Dataverse is a bit rubbish at. That's the only way I've seen it done is build the custom page. They can do everything from there. So they can pop out, create the segment, come back, look at the members, filter, and it's just about how you build the custom page. Then you've got full control. But that is the only way. There's no config you can do. Again, it's something that in the fullness of time might happen, but because of the nature of segments, that there is no relationship between the contact and the segment anymore, I don't think there's much they can do in the Dataverse world to fix that without building PCF controls or custom pages.
Okay, what I did before is that I just created the contacts view for a segment.
Yeah,
but this does not work anymore.
No.
That's what I mean. That's what's different. There's no relationship, which is why these are the limitations we're hitting because they're completely different architecture.
Okay.
So it's got limitations in theory.
Maybe some fields will work. I will try. Thanks.
Some do, not all of them, but some do. And if not, custom page is your friend. It's fun to build as well. But that's me being lame and saying it's fun.
Okay, so I went to unmute Harry and I see 2 and I can't remember what the last name is.
Narayan Singh.
Yeah.
And I've just butchered it to everyone. Thanks, Megan.
You're welcome. Harry, you can go ahead and ask your question. You should be unmuted.
Megan, hi, Amey. Thank you for this call. Okay.
You're welcome.
I had a question related to compliance profile. So we are working for one of our customers. They have their operations globally. So just to declutter the number of compliance profile we created, I hope we could create region-based compliance profile, and then we can set the restrictive and non-restrictive models as per the soft and hard opt-ins, basically complying to the compliances, for example, GDPR. But when we talk about double opt-ins, let's say I create one compliance profile for the European region. Double opt-ins is not by default compulsory for all the countries. So is there a way we can limit the double opt-in email to certain countries, but enable it for the whole compliance profile?
No, I would do a compliance. I would do a one compliance profile. So you create your first one, and then when you create a second one, you have the option on the panel that says use previously or another's purpose and topics. So essentially you've got one set of topics and your purposes, but essentially your landing page and everything that goes along with it, your double opt-ins, is then separated out. So a lot of times if I've got clients that have multiple languages, so it's people are opting in and opting out of the same thing, but each landing page or each double opt-in, they might have one for French, one for German, one for Spanish, but they're sharing that purpose and those topics. So you're not going to have a way of doing it just by having one compliance profile, unfortunately.
All right. That sounds good. Thank you. I have one more small question, if you don't mind.
Is that the one that you've posted up?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's related.
You can ask that and we'll just ignore it when we get to that one. So this is about using an external form to create cookies?
Yes. So when you submit a real-time form, it submits a cookie that helps you identify and differentiate between anonymous and known visitors, wherein I can simply set up trigger-based journeys for my product or service pages. But is it also possible when I'm using a third-party form? Because we found most of the limitations on real-time forms, and we were trying to check on the feasibility of using external services. Or third, for example, Sitecore forms, maybe, if that helps.
So you want to set a cookie from a different form provider?
Yes.
That would be about their functionality though, surely. So if you're using an external form, but you're trying to pass something back into Dynamics.
Yeah.
I mean, anything in terms of using an external form would be about how that form works in conjunction with your website to add a cookie, because a cookie is in the browser that somebody's using. You're not putting a cookie back into Dynamics. Now, if you wanted to put a value back in, then you'd have to do something with some kind of API to be able to push it back in. But in terms of cookies in Dynamics, that concept I don't think is necessarily one you would be doing. You would be putting a value back onto the contact or back onto the lead, but you'd definitely be needing to use some kind of API for that. Or the form capture.
There are two things actually. So when you submit for example, an outbound form, and let's say I've used a Chrome browser on my laptop, and if I visited a website which is tagged in my Dynamics, it will then help me understand that Hari has visited on your website. And that happens with a cookie that is placed out of box via outbound forms. I'm just trying to do and replicate the same behavior, but with a third-party form.
So you
want like what? Go on.
I was going to say so the only thing that you have in terms of knowing pages that people have gone to is the new website tracking that's in real time. So you would have to use that, and also as part of the real-time forms, there's a toggle switch on the form settings and also on each form that says whether you can do website tracking for it. So I would have a look at those two things. And this is maybe a little bit more specialized, so I don't think we're going to be able to give you an answer on this call. But I would look at those two things, try and look at implementing the website tracking, and also just check the real-time forms. You've got that tag to say whether that should be part of tracking being included. So
if you're not using the Dynamics forms, isn't it just the general website tracking to say they've visited a page? So as long as you push them from an email onto that page, that should fire the website tracking. That feature currently you can't actually access the data from it yet in the timeline, but it is there. And Megan's done posts about how you can trigger journeys based on when people are visiting pages. So if that's all you want, then it's just your general website tracking. And you can't, but you wouldn't be able to know that the form has been submitted because that's going to a completely different world.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. All right.
Perfect.
I'll give you the blogs. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. No problem. So we've got Michael.
I have a Mahal. I'm not going to try and say your last name. I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher that. I just enabled your microphone there. You can tell me how to say your name as well while you're there if you want.
It's Mihal pronounced, but you can call me Michael.
Mihal,
Hi.
I like it.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Hi, Amey. Hi, Megan. Thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. It's actually a general thing because, yeah, today called up customer insight journey, previously marketing, is rapidly growing, and we are looking for a solution how to, or from your experience, yeah, and protect it, prevent our end users to mess around and pick features or areas which they shouldn't have access.
Yeah.
In sales, customer service, we could easily build our custom model-driven app where we could add only the features which we are interested in giving access them. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, what's your opinion? What's your practice here? Do you do any modification, customization?
I do some stuff.
Yeah.
It depends. It like a good consultant, I'm going to say it depends. I would do some stuff. If you want to really lock people down and they need really simple stuff, I create a new app and just put the 3 things in the sitemap that they need. Megan?
And what? And yeah, in this case, we would like to hide or remove from them the settings area. But yeah, that
I wouldn't hide. I'd create a new one and only put in the things you want.
Yeah, but then.
And then if you need to remove access from the app from everyone, then you just obviously remove the security roles from the app. Leave the app there because it's freaking useful and some people do need those settings and sometimes you do need them. So I wouldn't be fiddling with the original. I'd be creating a new one for them and putting in there only the stuff they need.
Yeah, but this is what I was starting from. It's rapidly growing, which means we would constantly need to follow all the patches, weekend patches, which they are then adding. So for instance, some changes. But yeah.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same with any organization that doesn't want to use everything in the Sales Hub app and ends up creating a new one, and you've got the same challenges because then Microsoft will say, hey, we've got this great new functionality, or they'll update things in the sitemap, and it's the same thing. It's a never-ending headache. It would be great if there was a security role that was, this is just to the settings area, but unfortunately that's not the case. So it's either everyone can get to it, or you've got to say like Amey did and go down the path of different apps, unfortunately.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So we've got Daniel.
I didn't find him yet. Sorry, my bad.
There's 2 Daniels. Which one?
Daniel D. The Giorno. I probably butchered that as well, but here I am. Amey the butcher.
There we go. Daniel, you can ask your question.
You might have to unmute yourself as well. We've just enabled it. I think you can unmute yourself now. And if you can't, then let me know and I'll read it out. Okay, I'm going to be Daniel. Sorry, Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel says, I noticed that we have to create events using a portal. We have to recreate events using a portal in Outbound. Today, when I create an event in real time, website information are different. I'm afraid in the future, all events created in the past won't work in real time. Okay, so yeah, is this when events are different types? You've got 2 different types of event. You've got outbound events and real-time events. And you're worried that you've got outbound events which are created and are going to stop working. I can talk to this.
Yes, go for it.
I've freaked out about this about a month ago, so I'm with you on this one. You shouldn't actually be able to create events for outbound events that are after the 30th of June because there's actually something stopping you from creating them. And there is ways around it, but I wouldn't encourage it. And there is potentially problems if you have events which are in outbound marketing type events, which are going to happen after the 30th of June. Because they use, like, I know they're the same table, but behind the scenes, they use a completely different technological structure, different APIs, yada, yada, yada. And obviously the outbound APIs are going to get turned off. So I would look at your data and say, like, what events have we got that are in outbound that are after the date, and they need to be looked at. I did speak to a customer about it. They decided to custom build stuff in the end, so we didn't have to worry about it. But if you're using the standard forms and stuff, they're going to die. If you're using the portal, it's going to die. So you do need to create a new event in real time. And at some point switch over to make, you might end up having 2 events for the same event. So you can keep all your registrations. You don't really want to have to create the registrations again, because that's going to screw up a lot of things. But you do need to look at that. That's something I nearly fell over. And that the outbound events are going to cause you problems after 30 June.
Yep.
So don't panic, but yeah.
Not a pretty answer on that one, is there? Oh, he says clear. That's good. All right, so let me find Carolina. Anyone that has asked a question, we are obviously not going to be able to get to all of them. We've got 15 minutes left, and we do have a hard stop. So Amey and I will review those questions, and if there's anything, maybe we can do a blog post, maybe we can answer so those questions, but we will answer them. It just might not be on this call. So Carolina, you should be able to unmute and ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much. We have in Outbound, it was possible to create journeys with more than 90 days. So for events, for example, if you're promoting like in a very in advance, then it will be okay. However, in real time, it is only possible to set up customer journeys with 90 days. So is there any way we can create and be something like simple to create it, or what can we do in that case?
Yes, that is.
So the duration of the journey can't be more than 90 days? Oh la la.
So if you have, so you can't do a wait longer than 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the journey itself can last longer than 90 days.
No.
So I have not, and if anyone has, please leave a comment on Carolina's question. I haven't seen a way to be able to trick it, because we had I was working with a client that needed something that was going to be way longer. Eventually what we ended up doing was coming up with a trigger rather than saying, oh, something was going to wait. So yes, that is a bit of a challenge. Do
you want the geeky reason as to why?
So Ferdinand, feel free to expand on that in terms of on the chat. That's great if you can help out Carolina with that. I've come across that 90-day issue. I think it's in some circumstances. So again, if you're trying to do too many waits, then but I've not.
Because of flow, it's because flow runs in the background, right? And flows can't run for more than 90 days.
Because if
it's literally like a hard limitation on flows. There may be something that you can, I don't even know how that's possible, so I'm not sure. But what I would be looking to do is how could I trigger another journey within the journey to escape the 90 days? Mm-hmm. That's what I would be looking to do, because if you start a new journey and you're using triggers, they can kind of be ready whenever. So that's, I'd be looking at, can I start the journey later? So I have a journey that's live, but the start date is like in a month, because nothing needs to go out for a month. And then I've got a shorter time frame that I need to wait for. And can I break that journey down a bit? Can I change it so I can trigger another journey is what I would do.
So also on that one, I'm happy to ask and see if someone at Microsoft can give us a definitive answer. Ferdinand's saying you can put 2 wait nodes each for 90 days. I tried it probably about 2 months ago. It's possible something has changed, but I know that I ran into the exact same issue that Carolina's having. So I'll see if I can find an official answer from Microsoft on that one. So, right. So I think we'll be able to fit in a couple more questions.
Thank you.
No problem. You are welcome. JT.
I'm trying to find her on the chat and I can't actually find
I've got them.
You got it?
Yeah, so
Dan was a good shout because I went for she. Sorry if you're not.
JT, do you want to ask your
Hello?
question and tell us
Can you
how
hear me okay?
badly?
It's definitely not a she. It's a boy dragon. Hello.
How do we
Hello?
say your name? Because I totally said it wrong, I'm sure.
JT is fine.
JT, okay. All right, go for it.
Thanks. So this is another question around the segment. So was wondering, can we create a segment by filtering on purpose, topic, and contact point type, like email, SMS, or a custom channel, and get an estimate?
No,
not yet.
So we so I think Amy's raised it as well, but I know I definitely have raised that just specifically from working with clients that have emails and SMS, and they only want to find the ones that have opted in specifically to SMS. So there's nothing that is officially on the roadmap. It's something that they're aware of, and they know that they need to do something like that. So hopefully we see that as an option in the future, but you're absolutely right. Currently it isn't something that you're able to do, unfortunately.
Do you see any sort of like a workaround, like, building an app, or, maybe just looking into Power BI or something like that to find out the estimate based on the segment?
In terms of numbers, and obviously Power BI, going off with using the Microsoft Fabric integration, and then you could build something, but obviously that doesn't help you in a segment. You'd have to just say, we've got about 500 people that have opted into SMS, or we've got this many, but unfortunately it's not going to help you in a segment. So 100%
complicated as well. And they're complicated rules. It's like, are you restrictive or non-restrictive? Which is a channel? Which is this? Like, it's a lot of stuff to build out. So you could definitely, like, if you're good with Power BI and like DAX and stuff, you could totally do it. It's just data. It's contact data and consent and tying them together. It's just data, right? But yeah, easier said than done. Okay, we have got 8 minutes. You're welcome. I've just unmuted Ned Volin. I'm going to go with what I think is your first name.
Correct. Yeah. That's my first name, Volin. Thank you. Okay, right. So my question comes from the fact that our clients now really want to work with real-time journeys, and they want to improve the subscription to newsletters. And basically, they want to be as out of the box as possible. So I have a real-time marketing form that is embedded on their website for unsubscription, and because that's the external link from the compliance profile. But I can't make it work to pre-fill the email address, although the domain is verified. Also, the feature switch for form pre-fill is enabled. The form itself, the fields, they have the pre-fill enabled. So, any idea where what I could have been missing?
So it depends, because the pre-fill only works in specific circumstances. So Outbound used to use cookies. So in other words, somebody had been on the website and then they go to a form and cookies are enabled, and there's a field on the contact that is for allow pre-fill. If that is set to yes, then if you went to different pages with forms, the pre-fill would work. With Realtime, the pre-fill is basically going to work when you send someone an email, they click on a link and they land on a page with a form, because what happens is the context is passed through the link about that contact, and that's when the pre-fill is going to work.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm trying to do, but by some reason the context is not passing the value of the email, which is.
Are you doing it in real journeys, or are you doing like test ones?
No, real journey.
Okay. Then I would, if you haven't already, I would open up a ticket with Microsoft for that one. Because that is how it should work, is that if I have a button and I send an email with a button on it and I click on it, it should pass through. So if it's not, and you haven't already, I would go ahead and open up a ticket, because that is how it should be working.
Okay, cool. And just a quick one, it's above a little bit, one question of mine about the tracking. So what is actually the tracking technology? Is it tracking links or tracking pixels, the one that Microsoft uses out of the box?
So for real time, it basically is putting a cookie in the browser, and I think the cookie lasts for, oh, I can't remember how many days, but it's quite a while that it lasts for. Yeah, it's on their documentation, but yeah, it's basically adding a cookie into their browser for that tracking.
Okay, cool.
So the tracking, there's a table that stores the tracking cookie code, and then that is linked then to another field that eventually finds its way to link back to either the contact or the lead.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, you're welcome.
We've only got 5 minutes. Do we take on more? Because so the next one is about LinkedIn lead gen. There is as someone commented, there's a blog post from the Fast Track team. I'm trying to find it. I'll put it in the chat if I find it. But basically, you need to build it yourself. There is a really detailed blog post from Janelle, a very smart person who works out all the hard stuff. So you get to run through the hard stuff and do the fun stuff at the end. I will try and find a blog, but it is out there in the ether somewhere.
I think probably what's good is if we take all of the questions
unanswered,
and then we can put something together, whether it's a blog post, whatever, we maybe follow up with you individually. We'll just see how many. It's really hard to see how many questions there are at the top. A lot, I think. So one of the things that Amey and I, when we decided we're going to do this, is we weren't sure what the response would be, and obviously it's quite overwhelming in terms of how many questions there are. So we are likely going to do another one in a couple of weeks. We're both actually in Germany next week in an event, so maybe the week after that we will do another one. And feel free, if you want to join back on, you can absolutely do that. Just get in quickly with your questions, because you can see that a lot of people have questions about stuff. We've also recorded this, so we will put this online as well. So if people want to watch it, or if you want to go back through it. But I think probably rather than digging into another one, we just kind of
I shouldn't.
Wrap up, and say thank you. See you in Hamburg, Robert. So we go ahead and we want to just say thank you for attending. It's we understand how difficult it is, because we are going through this as well, not only like for just one organization, but for all of our clients. And also trying to help out you guys in the community as well. Doing this, we're not trying to get new clients. We actually can't take on new clients. So we appreciate it. Amey, do you want to say anything?
No, I think hopefully we can be useful and come back and do it again. If we both recover okay from this, and it's really, I'm quite impressed that people are here and would love to help out.
And Amey, get some sleep before our session this afternoon as well.
Let's not talk about that. If you want to look for a bedraggled Amey in like 8 hours time, I'll be here.
We'll be back on this afternoon. So actually, for those of you that are in Europe, if you wanted to and your question wasn't answered, feel free. You can still register for that session this afternoon as well. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the day.
Everyone.
Take care. Bye.